Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the. Is it April? Yes, it's April. The date on the letter says March, and the agenda's in April. I'll get my months right. Welcome to the April meeting of the Policy and Resources Committee, Spennymoor Town Council, the last one before the local elections. Probably just as well, considering I don't know what month it is. Never mind. The council would like to advise that this meeting is being recorded as well as being live streamed to YouTube. It will subsequently appear on the council's website. Can I please ask that all mobile devices are either switched off or to silent during the meeting? Members, before we move on to the printed agenda, I am going to defer from the chair items 14 and 15. They're awardings of contracts that would bind the council long term in various areas of council business. And from the chair, I don't believe that's the right thing to do the month of local election. I've spoken to the officers regarding that, and they've agreed that there's no urgency for these to be on tonight's agenda, and so I will be deferring them until a future meeting of the Policy and Resources Committee. Item 1 is apologies for absence.
Apologies from councillors Abley, Grayson and Harmer.
Thank you. Item 2 is declarations of interest. I will declare that. Thank you. I'll declare 11. As usual, Spennymoor Cricket Club. I am the honorary president of the club. It is a non-pecuniary position of the club, and as such, I'll remain in the meeting.
None others, Chair.
Thank you. There will therefore be no dispensations. Item 3. Public questions. Item 4.
None received, Chair.
Thank you. Item 5 is planning. None on
none
there
for-
yet.
No. None for this evening.
Thank you. That's good. Thank you. Item 6 is the accounts for payments, and 6A is the supplier payments for March. Members are requested to note the list of approved payments totaling £44,619.27 made during March 2021. Councillor Ranyard.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I just have a question on the paid invoices, item 6A, page 1. Just a query on the valuation of 3 plots of land for £900. I just want to know what that was in relation to. Is it in relation to the land registry programme that's ongoing at the moment?
Through you, Chair, no, it's not. It's for 3 plots of land, which included the Tudor plot of land that the council received a request to purchase. The plot of land behind Clyde Terrace, which we've had valued with a proposal to bring a report back to council at some future date, and also the change in area facilities as part of the council's request to come back to the members with options appraisals for Byres Green.
So that valuation was for the Byres Green Pavilion, 1 piece of land at Clyde Terrace, and the piece of land at Tudor.
Yes.
Okay, just the details on there says 2 times Clyde Terrace. There's no mention of Tudor on the list.
I think that's a misprint, because it did include Clyde Terrace. It did include Tudor, sorry.
That's great, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Malloy.
Yes, Chair. In March, on the 13th and the 18th of March, there's 2 payments. One for £1,062.13, £961.03 for Service Skag 0 turn mower. I take it that's 2 separate mowers, is it, and not just the same one?
I think it's 2 separate, but I'm happy to come back and advise the member when I get some further details, if that helps, Chair.
Yeah, that'd be great. And if it is 2, would it be possible to have them identified for future accounts so we can differentiate between the difference of equipment?
Okay, yeah.
Cheers.
Councillor Richards.
Yeah, it's just what Councillor Malloy was saying. I believe that'll be the stuff that we approved on the last meeting for the path clearer for the cow plantation. Am I correct, Colin?
I think so, but I would
I
rather
remember
get,
I remember there was one bit and then an extra bit for it.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was two separate things.
That's my assumption as well, but I'll double check with the accountant and get back.
Okay, members happy to approve those? Yeah,
Happy to approve.
thank you.
it. Thank you.
Item 6B is the paid accounts, payments of accounts by backs and card, the sum of £67,869.13, and payments made by direct debit in the sum of £10,129.06, March 2021. Happy to approve those?
Happy to accept.
Thank you. Item 7 is the bank reconciliation. Members are requested to note the current bank account reconciliation for February 2021.
Happy to accept.
Happy with that? Thank you. Item 8, requested to consider the request from John Clean BE. This is regarding the Spennymoor Gala. It's the standard request to have use of the park for the gala event. Members will know that the Gala Liaison Committee has been working with the Gala Liaison Group has been working with the Gala Committee on whether or not it would be possible and viable for the Spennymoor Gala to go forward this summer. So provisionally, the Gala Committee would like the permission in principle to use the park. And one of the things that the Liaison Group discussed with them was that we'll be able to do that as a council, we'll be able to give them permission in principle, and that will be based on satisfying the SAG process, the Safety Advisory Group process, and also satisfying obviously any insurances and other considerations that would need to be made. So really we're seeking tonight for that permission in principle, and so that the gala can, you know, have that in stone as something that can work towards.
Happy with that?
Agreed, Chair. Agreed.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm not hearing anything any different. Sorry, Councillor Richards.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah.
I just want us to ensure that it's in a COVID secure manner and following any regulations. I know that June 21st is hopefully the end of every restriction that we have, but I think we should put a caveat on that it's still conducted in a COVID safe manner, because COVID's not going to go away after the 21st of June, just so that we are shown to be making sure that the public are going to stay safe, because we don't want a big spike in cases in Spennymoor at all. And I think that's what we need to do going forward, just to make sure that everybody, staff and people who are running the shows and the public is safe.
Yeah, I think you're right to highlight the point, and I think, you know, that's one of the things the Safety Advisory Group are looking at now. So that's one of the things that they would have to satisfy that they're doing in the proper way, and I'm sure they will. There are people there with a health and safety expert, they'll put all the arrangements in place. So that is a good point to make. Councillor Maddison.
Thank you, Chair. Got a bit of trouble getting in with the computer. When John came and addressed us at this meeting, I think everybody was of the same opinion. You know, we need something to bring us out of this. 100% behind it. I mean, if they can put a general election on 2 months before this, surely they can put a gala on, you know. As long as everything's safe, let them go ahead with it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I think if we look at the current the pathway out of lockdown that the government set, the date of the gala would be, you know, almost a fortnight after the date which large sporting events are able to reopen and have crowds in. So, you know, that's the context of the situation that we're in. I think, you know, the council does fully support the gala, and we hope that it can go ahead and it can be done in the right way. And this is the first stage really for us to give permission for the gala committee to use the park, provided of course we can get everything in place in time. So I'm pleased that members are all in agreement with that. Okay, I'm taking that as agreed. I don't think anybody else has indicated to
I'll put a
speak.
request in.
Apologies, I haven't saying that there. Councillor Wood.
I just wondered, do you think it's going to be a much bigger event with Durham Gale and the Durham Gale are not going ahead? Do you think people might suddenly decide, oh, we'll all go to Spennymoor?
I think that's something that the committee will have to they'll have to consider when they're putting together their proposal and they're working with the safety advisory group. Because one of the things that we'll have to look at is the potential. There's a limit of how many there can be in park at one time. But that's, that again, that's a valid consideration that will be made as part of the process. Councillor Machin.
Thanks, Chair. Can I ask if a report will be brought back to Council with regard to what's proposed in the SAG recommendations, etc.?
I think that would have to be the case, because what we're doing at the minute is we're giving the permission in principle on the basis that all those things happen. And, those things happening would have to come back for the council to consider, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, members, we're all in agreement with that then?
Yep.
That's
Yes.
great, thank you very much.
Yep.
Item 9 then is Hewick Road and Tolmy Close. That is the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit. Members are requested to consider the order from Durham County Council. Anybody have any comments on this?
I haven't put a yes, but can I have a comment on this, Chairman?
Yes, I'll bring you in.
Yeah, I think it's about time this speed limit was brought in those areas, because the residents have been suffering ever since the site was built. I think it's well worth the time to be actually put in place now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hiley. Councillor Madison.
Thank you, Chair. This proposal, and it is a good idea for 20 miles per hour to go in, but I have spoken to the division councillor with regard to this, and he wasn't aware that these roads are yet adopted. And it's normal that if the roads are not adopted, you can't go out to residents with consultation. I know from the remarks that's been made on this particular application that is something that's recommended from the police, but can you confirm to me whether these roads have yet been adopted and whether any residents have been consulted? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I think that's really a question for the Highways Authority, which we would have to put if that's something that they would like to do. And any other questions, comments? Can I ask that members note the item?
I agree, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, item 10 is a motion on notice from the chair. This is as read, and I will read it out for you. The Union flag is to be flown on all UK government buildings every day in a bid to unite the nation. New guidance has been set out. At present, Union flags are only required to be flown on all UK government buildings on designated days, but the new guide from the Department for Digital, Culture, Media and Sport will ask for it to be flown at all times. Government ministers have said the changes will be a proud reminder of our history and the ties that bind us. The government will write to councils to ask them to fly the Union flag, and this will eventually trickle down to town councils. So I propose that Spennymoor Town Council take a lead on this at a time when the UK is coming through the COVID pandemic and to unite the town and the country. Seek a seconder for the motion.
I'll second that, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Malloy.
Thank you, Chair. At the full council meeting held on the 25th of June 2019, I had a motion on notice that would have had the Union flag fly permanently from one of the two town hall flag poles. However, for this to have been achieved, it would have meant that the town flag be lowered when both flag poles were in use, and some councillors did not think that should happen, so my motion failed. Last month on Wednesday, the 24th of March, I put a post on my councillor's Facebook page concerning how from this summer the government was bringing in new guidance for the Union flag to be flown permanently on all government buildings in England, Scotland and Wales, and I also included my motion on notice that I put forward to this council for this to happen at the town hall. I shared this post the two Spennymoor community groups, and it proved to be a popular post with many favourable comments in support of flying the Union flag permanently. And when we have Councillor Geldard bring this motion to the council. Despite the summer not being that far away, I will be supporting Councillor Geldard's motion, because unlike Councillor Geldard, who has brought this motion to the council on the back of popular local support and can be construed as electioneering, I am a real patriot with love for our country, the Union flag, and like those former members of the Durham Light Infantry, which had their museum closed down by the Labour Party ran Durham County Council, of which Councillor Geldard was a Labour Party councillor at the time, I too served our country and was prepared to defend the Union flag at all costs. Thank you.
Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Chair. I speak to oppose this motion, more for the cynicality of the motion than anything else. It says in the motion, a proud reminder of the history of the ties that bind us. There are 130,000 people who are no longer with us due to COVID. And I'm sure the government would much rather we spend time talking about flags than talking about their abilities to deal with 130,000 people and their deaths and the decisions that they have taken that led to that point. We have one of the worst performing economies in the G7, thanks to Brexit, thanks to COVID. But I'm sure the government is very happy that we're talking about flags here tonight. Where does this come from, really? There was a joke on the BBC Breakfast Time by the male presenter who had a little dig at the minister. The minister took umbrage at it. The fallback didn't fall on the white male presenter. It fell on the coloured female presenter, who happened just to be sat next to him at the time. But that's the tone that we've been setting. That's the Daily Mail attitude to what this country is about. Johnson himself said, patriotism is the last refuge of the scoundrel. Of course, that was Samuel Johnson. And I'm sure he had in mind when he was thinking about it, our current Prime Minister, Boris Johnson. His government and the things that they've done, their only ability to track and trace anything is how can they track deals and how can they trace their friends to get into those deals. Now, I'm sorry if I'm wandering away from flags, but I know we've got to concentrate on flags. Boris Johnson himself, an adulterer, a philanderer, a proven liar by his own statements, an admitted liar.
Chair, I've got point of order here.
No,
hang on. Sorry. Yeah, I'll hear Councillor Foster. Hang on. I'll hear the point of order because I'm obliged to. Councillor.
Okay, politics all the
Councillor
Chair,
Madison.
I do think that it is becoming political. We are talking about a flag here, and we should concentrate on that. We are in Purda, and we should respect Purda. I'm not a Conservative. I would never vote Conservative, but I can't sit here and listen to a tone that is when we're talking about an agenda item, which is flags. Thank you.
Okay. So, okay.
I apologise.
Hang on.
I apologise.
Sorry. Councillor Foster. Okay. So my rule on another point of order is such that this isn't an agenda item, i.e. a report on a specific subject. This is a motion. As far as I'm concerned, in a motion of debate, the member has 3 minutes to essentially say what they want that is within there. And I don't think, although it has been impassioned and controversial issues, I don't think anything Councillor Foster said has been out of order as such. So I'll bring Councillor Foster in to conclude. You have 1 minute left, Councillor Foster.
Thank you. I'm sorry if I've embarrassed anybody by their opinions, but let's get back to flags. And if that flags is important, let's talk about the cost, £2.6 million of the new press room in Downing Street. Now, I can talk about that because the highlight of that press room is the 2 Union flags at the back. That's really what it was all about. Unfortunately, Johnson had watched too many episodes of The West Wing and decided he wanted one of his own. And 2.6 million is the price to pay for that. I could go on. There are many other things that we talk about. Realistically, I think there are 2 reasons why flying the flag every day is counterproductive. One, if you fly it every day, What do you do on high days and holidays? How do you celebrate anything if the flag's just another piece of wallpaper that people just don't recognise it and don't see it as being anything different and it doesn't stand out? It may as well be the half price sign outside of a furniture shop or the hot pies are here outside of a butcher's. The flag does mean something to anybody who really is a patriot. But if you really wanted to do it, it's there to celebrate events. It's not there to cover up the mistakes of this government.
Thank you, Councillor Foster. Councillor Richards.
Thank you. I actually do support this motion. I feel that we have lost a lot of the importance behind the Union flag, and by making it more visible to the general public, we would increase that importance. I'd also like to comment on the Ofsted and Department for Education principles of British values that were first introduced by the Labour government in around 2009-2010, sorry, of mutual respect and tolerance, rule of law, individual liberty and democracy. We teach those values in our schools, and I think we should teach them in our communities as well. I think that's part of this flag flying exercise, why the government is bringing it in. It's part of this British values curriculum to educate everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Clive Madison.
Thank you, Chair. Everyone seems to be getting photographs took in front of these flags when you see all these presses. Councillor Foster is right, they are using it too much, but it is a law. We're going to have to adhere to the law, and I would propose that we buy another flagpole so we can also use this all the time. So I would propose that if somebody could second me that.
I'll second that.
Okay, I think so. I understand what you're trying to do, Councillor. I think it's I think that will be a second motion rather than an amendment, unless you were to add some words into the motion as an amendment. I can't accept a second motion. I could accept an amendment.
Well, Chair, we'll go along with your motion and we'll add that at the end that we will purchase another flagpole, because if we don't, we'll be taking flags up and down all the time, and it'll make things easier for the people that do this. Is that okay with you?
Okay. Yes, that's an amendment. That's fine. So we have an amendment on the table from Councillor Clive Madison that's seconded by Councillor Liz Madison. We will now open debate on that amendment. So the amendment is an addition to the motion that says the council will purchase an additional flagpole. Councillor Ranyard.
Thank you, Chair. I think as a council, we've obviously always followed the guidance set down by government when it comes to flying the national flag. And I see no reason why we shouldn't continue to follow the guidance that government set. So I'm quite more than happy that the government's new guidance for the flag to be flown continuously is something we should follow. Understand it might not come in place until the summer, but I see no issue with starting it sooner. As per the original motion, which now carries the amendment of the third flagpole. So yeah, I'm more than happy to support what's been proposed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Malloy.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, I'm all in favour of supporting the amendments, but I'd also like to the officers to bear in mind when they're putting out to going for a price is flag etiquette, and the Union flag is to be slightly higher. So double check on that than other flags, with it being the national flag. So maybe getting a slightly larger flagpole than the current ones that we've got. But it would be worth checking the actual flag etiquette policy on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to speak on the amendment, which is to purchase an additional flagpole as well as the original motion? Okay, just before I ask for a vote, then I would just like to speak on that. I think my motion was really to follow the government guidance. It wasn't to create additional expenditure for the council to do such, and I don't believe that we necessarily need to do that at this stage. So I think I'm personally against buying an extra flagpole, although of course I am in favour of the original motion. And of course, the original motion wasn't in any way electioneering, as I've been accused of. Certainly, you know, I'm sensitive to the misuse of the Union Jack, and as Councillor Malloy won't allow me to forget my political past, and I allow him to forget his. Of course, the greatest misuse of the Union Jack, as far as I'm concerned, was incorporated into the logo of Councillor Malloy's former party, the British National Party, BNP. I'll now take a vote on the amendment. Can I ask the minutes officer or the Zoom host to take us through the list of councillors to cast their votes?
Yes, certainly. Councillor Foster,
Abstain.
Councillor Geldard,
I'm the chair.
Councillor Hiley, Councillor Hiley, come back to Councillor Hiley. Councillor Ian Machin,
I'm voting against. I don't see the need for additional expenditure.
Councillor Judith Machin,
Against.
Councillor Clive Madison,
For.
Councillor Liz Madison,
For.
Councillor McAloon,
I'm for.
Councillor Malloy,
For.
Councillor Vanyard,
For.
Councillor Richards,
For.
Councillor Kathy Thompson,
For.
Councillor Kevin Thompson,
For.
and Councillor Wood.
For.
Councillor Hiley, do you have your vote?
Yeah, I'm abstaining on this one.
That is 9 for, 2 against and 2 abstentions.
Thank you. So the amendment to the motion is passed. The original motion with the addition that the council looked to buy an additional flagpole. Okay, item 11 is an update
Sorry,
on the
Chair.
Spennymoor Cricket Club.
My
Can I ask-
apologies, Chair.
Sorry.
My apologies, Chair, for interrupting you. Yes, you've moved the amendment. The amendment becomes a substantive motion. Are you not going to put the substantive
Yeah,
motion?
You're correct, Councillor Foster. And I think that's the first time I've ever got that particular procedure wrong. You are correct. So the amendment becomes a substantive motion. There is a debate that can be opened on the substantive motion now. And we do have to take a vote on the substantive motion move. That is correct. Any members wanting to speak on the substantive motion?
Chair, can I just add one more thing to my discussion earlier on? As I said, this is a very cynical move by the government to hide what's going on. And there's inevitably these things happen on a couch on a Sunday morning television programme that have this bright idea. By Monday afternoon, these ideas are dead and buried. It wouldn't surprise me, given the number of backtracks this government has made in the last year, that when we get to the summer, this will have disappeared as a puff of smoke, like so many things that they have said. And we'll have bought a flagpole and bought a flag for their convenience, not for the needs of the people of Spennymoor.
Thank you. Councillor Machin?
Can I ask if anyone on the call, including Colin, has any idea about what the cost of this is going to be that you've all voted for?
Through you, Chair, no idea at all. We'd need to investigate that.
Councillor Malloy?
Thanks, Chair. Just to clarify, if this gets passed, it'd be from tomorrow morning the Union flag will start flying from one of the flagpoles at least.
to provide clarification, the decision of this committee would need to be ratified by the full council, so it would be the day after the next full council meeting.
Just clear. And also in regards to cost of a flagpole, might give members some idea. When we visited, some of us visited Rosa Street School for their environmental flag, they had to get a flagpole installed, and I'm sure they talked in the region of around £700 supply and installed. So, but obviously the council will do its own investigation into the price, but that just give an idea what they paid for it. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor. Okay, there appears to be no further requests to speak on a substantive motion. As I outlined in my contributions to the debate on the amendment, I was for the flying of the flag, any additional expenditure to do so, but that is the will and the wish of the council by the looks of it. So that is how the vote may turn out. Okay, we'll take a vote then on the substantive motion. Can I ask the officer to take us through the voters, please?
Councillor Foster,
Against.
Councillor Hiley,
Against.
Councillor Ian Machin,
Against.
Councillor Judith Machin,
Against.
Councillor Clive Madison, Councillor Clive Madison,
I think you're on mute, Clive.
Aye. 4.
Councillor Liz Madison,
4.
Councillor McAloon,
4.
Councillor Malloy,
4.
Councillor Ranyard,
4.
Councillor Richards,
4.
Councillor Kathy Thompson,
4.
Councillor Kevin Thompson,
4.
and Councillor Wood.
4.
That's 9 in favour and 4 against.
Thank you. So the substantive motion is passed. Okay, we are on to item 11 now, and this is the update on the Spennymoor Cricket Club project. In the absence of the clerk, could ask the facilities manager to take us through the report.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. The purpose is to update members on the current situation regarding Spennymoor Cricket Club and Sport England. It's just to advise members that there's been a request by Sport England to have some changes done to the drawings, of which are being done at this moment in time. So the changes tend to look around the entrance to the changing facilities and the ramp as a couple of areas. Once the drawings have been done and they've been sent and costed, that the proposal is we'll bring a report as soon as we can back to council, and obviously we'll be taking things back to Sport England as well, and hopefully we'll get something back quickly from them so we can progress this matter.
Thank you, facilities manager, for the report. Any members wishing to speak on the report? Councillor Ranyard.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'm just really wanting to check on the status of the cricket club in terms of the viability. I know initially that the cricket club are there without any facilities still, and it's been quite some time now without a pavilion. And I know initially there was concerns that they could lose their place in their league, and the future of the club could be in doubt if this wasn't progressed, fairly quickly. So obviously some time's passed. So I'm just really basically wanting to check that the cricket club are still viable, and not in danger of losing their place in the league, and can wait the extra time that's going to be needed to get this progressed.
Thank you, Councillor. I think fortunately the rules on the coming out of lockdown for cricket clubs and indeed the league rules that they're in has meant that they can't actually use the facilities that they would have provided in any case. So the league are quite satisfied for them to go along as they currently are, and I think we'll get another season out of it for sure. And Hudson's outlined, this project will be on time for this. Councillor Madison? Oh, apologies, sorry, I've missed one out. Councillor Thompson. Sorry, Councillor Madison, I'll bring Councillor Thompson in first.
Yes, Chair. Can you just remind me, please, how much this new cricket club's going to cost?
Mr. Anton?
The figure I've got in my head's 160 something £1,000 is the budget that we've got, but that's subject to the £50,000 coming from Sport England.
So even with the £50,000 from Sport, through you, Chair, so even with the £50,000 from Sport England, we're still going to be something short. We're not sure what it is.
Well, let me just round these figures up for you, Chair. We've got.
I think if I could help you out, Mr. Ranson, because I obviously don't have the figures in front of you. The whole thing, I believe, is 162,000. The club funding, the fundraising, the insurance money, and I think it was only £30,000 contribution from the town council adds up to 81. And the other 81,000 is the Sport England fund, and I believe that's the sort of breakdown.
Yeah, I think I've just done my calculations. Yes, you're about right there, Chair.
So through, Chair, are you just saying that the Sport England 50,000 gives us enough money to build the current project?
Yes, it's not 50,000. It's yes, the Sport England fund uncovers the remaining cost of the project.
Through you, Chair. I think one of the challenges is obviously they're making some alterations to the plans at this moment in time. So until we have them costed out, we can only assume that it will remain in budget. But until it's costed, we won't know if it's still within budget. So I don't know if that answers your question, Councillor Thompson.
Well, it's still, yes, but it's still a little bit vague. But it is only being brought forward for us to have a look at. But what I would like to say at this point is I won't get many opportunities in the future to say anything because I'm not standing in the next elections. Is I'm concerned at the amount of work that's going on behind the scenes that us councillors are not seeing. For instance, we are told that there's been 2 meetings with the National Cricket Board and we have no indication really of what they're saying. It would have nice to have been to see their actual report instead of just us seeing it in sort of dribs and drabs. But I'm sure the next council will take that up. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. I've just had a look at the breakdown of the figures because I did have it here, and sorry, I misquoted the fact that it was 81,000 from Sport England. It was 50,000 from Sport England and the 30,000 from the council, and that was that 80,000 on that side, and the other 80,000 is made up by the club fundraising and all that. But the overall figure is that yes, we're budgeted correctly for the project at the current time. Councillor Madison.
Thank you, Chair. I believe I've read somewhere that the minor alterations is to make certain parts disability access compliant. Is this correct? And also the second question is the access road, will that be also disability compliant? And have Sport England actually seen this site? Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Ranson,
through you, Chair. The as part of the design, clearly it needs to be disability accessible. The road to the site, whilst it's not exactly 100% perfect for everybody at all times, and because of what it is, that is what it is. And while Sport England have, I understand, seen the site, they've had the plans, they've had the drawings, and they know exactly where the location is, and they haven't raised any issues as yet in terms of the access to the proposed premises.
Councillor
Come
Richards.
back on that one, please.
Yes.
As regard to the drawings themselves, I have seen the drawings, and the drawings indicate white lines on the field, which is for car parking, which suggests that the access road should also be able to take cars along it. So I do have a concern with regard to that road. Thank you.
Through you, Chair, that current facility takes cars along that road currently.
Thank you. Councillor Richards.
Thank you, Chair. I think it's really important that we encourage grassroots sports, and it's important to note what Chair had said, that the Town Council is putting in the least amount of funding. The Cricket Club is match funding Sport England and Town Council funding. And for what Councillor Madison said about checking the drawings for making sure it's disabled access, it would be breaking the law if we didn't. It's part of the Disability Discrimination Act that everywhere should be accessible for all people, for new built buildings and older buildings. If they aren't adapted, they should be adapted to satisfy the conditions of the Disability Discrimination Act. Like I say, I think it's really important that we're encouraging grassroots sports, because it puts Fenimore on the map as well with grassroots sports as well, because we do have strong sporting heritage in our town. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Malloy.
Thank you, Chair. With regards to the monies coming from the Town Council so far, you mentioned we've gave 30,000. I believe it's 33,000 up to now. And I'm just wondering if, because this has been going on for some time, and when it does come to being built and that, and there's an increase in costs, who will shoulder that increase in cost? Will it be the taxpayer, or will it be the cricket club themselves? Thank you.
The contract will be set up in such a way that the contractor will be told that they've got to keep to the price of the contract. So when the contract is given, that will be. Okay. Anyone else want to speak on this item? I don't think so. I think I've covered it. Yeah, Councillor McAlone.
Sorry, Chair, I've been trying to get on.
No problem.
Mr. Ranson said that Sport England have seen the site. That's what Mr. Ranson said. Sport England, is that correct? They have visited the site.
Sport England, as far as I'm aware, have seen, as far as I'm aware, have seen the site. They've certainly, the dialogue that we've had with them, they know the location, they've seen plans. So, I mean, I do appreciate it's been over, the period of time's been over COVID, but my understanding that there was plans for them to visit the site. So I assume that they haven't advised us that they haven't.
Right, and my other question is, if the club somehow doesn't get the money off Sport England, right, will the £102,000 off the Town Council, including the insurance money, go back into other projects?
Well, that will be for the council to decide, Billy. So at the minute, it's allocated to this project, and if this project were to fall through, it will be up to this council to decide what that money will be spent on.
And my other thing through your chair is, how long do we have to wait for this? Because has it been 2 years or 3 years since the cricket club went down?
It'll be coming up as.
What, 3 years?
Yeah, it's coming up for 3 years.
Yeah.
So we're sitting on that money. We've been sitting on that money for 3 years. That's what I'm. There has to be a limit, like when we can use this money. That's what I was getting at, like.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you,
Councillor. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, just would like to ask, I should have asked it before when I was in. This is classed as a temporary building, I believe. Someone could confirm that. How
No,
do
you know, that's not the case, Councillor Thompson. So there was a temporary plan application went in initially, and that was amended to be a permanent one. There's no question of this being a temporary.
So this is the building we're going to have. Is that something in the future that may be brought forward? Okay, thank you, Chair.
That's correct. Yes. Okay, can I ask member report?
Can I come in, Ian? I have one question.
Yeah, yes, Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Chair. It's just going back where Councillor Richards says that every new build and every alteration has to be disabled access. Can she call down the town hall tomorrow and show me how to get on the 3rd floor for the gallery, please?
As I said, through you, Chair, sorry.
Thank you.
It's the Disability Discrimination Act. New buildings, the town hall is an old building. Unfortunately, it is not fully DDA compliant at present because of the access issues with it. But that is something that really maybe the town council should be considering if it's not DDA compliant fully. But that's for another day.
Yeah, I think that whereas it's a valid point, it is of course a different subject. So can I ask Mr. Nutt the report?
Chair, I have
Thank
made
you.
a request to speak. Councillor Maddison.
I have already brought you in once, Councillor Madison, and I have
think you've
asked for
brought others
the
in
report
too.
now. So
You
I
have
am
brought others
going to
in
move
too,
on.
Chair.
I am going to move on. So item 12 is thank you cards. Members are requested to note the thank you cards made by Tudor Moore and Jack in the Box. Happy to note those?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, there being no further items on the agenda, I'll close the meeting there. Thank you very much.